Hello everyone and welcome. As the next time we're going to be creating a game together, today I'm going to be discussing about the basics of Android. So what's an activity? An activity is a single page where a user interface is shown. So on create over here is the entry point for the activity. On start is when the activity becomes visible to the user. On resume is when the user starts interacting with the activity. And then here, we are in a situation where another activity jumps to the foreground. So the previous one gets paused and then is going to be resumed and so on, right? But then we might decide that the activity is going to be stopped or eventually destroyed by the system when the application shuts down, or instead, the system might just decide that this activity is using up way too much resources, system resources, which means that the system is going to be killing the activity to then restart it back, right? Over here. Now, here is when we are restarting an activity that was previously started on restart, just because the user is navigating back to the activity. So we've just discussed the activity by saying that this manages the UI and the user interaction. Let's see the other application components. So we also have services, which are background processing. Also, we have broadcast receivers, which handle communications between application and the operating system, and content providers, which manage DB and data. Applications are not just meant to be a bunch of code. They might also need to define specific colors. They might need to define specific UI. They might need to use menu. They might need to store data using a specific extension. They might need to use XML files and so on. Resource file allows us to manage the situation in a very convenient way. So under the REST folders, you're going to find a bunch of subdirectories, each one of them containing XML files that are going to describe the kind of resources that we are managing. So for example, anim subdirectory is going to describe animations properties. And you're going to be able to retrieve this information by analyzing the r.anim class. The color subdirectory is going to describe a list of colors. And you're going to be able to retrieve this list by analyzing the r.color class. Drawable. So information about images such as JPEG or GIF, animated GIF, and so on. Again, you're going to be able to retrieve this information by analyzing this class over here. Layout contains the UI definition, and following the same logic, you need to analyze the r.layout class. Menu, application menu definition, and the class is r.menu. Row, files saved in their own row form, r.row. And that's contain a huge list of different objects. So you're going to be able to access array, integer, dimension of pages and style, CSS file and string, and so on. And XML, which describe arbitrary XML file. So we're running the Android Studio and we're exploring an empty project. We've been talking about this REST layout folder, and we said that it's supposed to be containing XML files. And in fact, as you can see, we see an activity main XML and a content main XML. While the activity main XML is controlling mostly the behavior of the views and how they behave to each other, and how to set up a default behavior for the views, and also setting up a layout bar, which is going to control the scrolling behavior, and also the toolbar, which is going to display the logo, the title, the action menu, and etc. And also we can add a floating action button, which in this case is this little mail over here, which is going to trigger the main action of the UI. Instead, the content main.xml is going to contain most of the code that is going to define the UI. Like, for example, if you were to add a table, you will have to modify this file over here, the content underscore main. And that will be all for today. Thank you very much. Next time, we're going to build a game using Kotlin and Android Studio. So I'll see you next time. Thank you. Bye.